democracy in America did not die in a revolution. It eroded in a boardroom. Not with fanfare or martial law. There were no tanks in the streets, no collapsing parliaments. No dramatic pronouncements from balconies. No, it vanished quietly under flickering fluorescent lights, in a conference room with no windows. During a leadership meeting that nobody voted for and no one remembers. While the public was distracted debating gas stoves, beer commercials, and other trivialities, two corporate entities, operating under the familiar brand names, Democratic and Republican, and consolidated control of the American political system. This isn't a metaphor. These are, in fact, private corporations, chartered under state law. You are not a member of these organizations, you are a consumer. And unlike even your local grocery chain, they do not offer a loyalty program, only loyalty demands. Everybody wonders how they did it. Not through legislation. That would have required public debate. No, they changed the machinery behind the scenes, the internal rules of Congress. The ballot access codes, the debate thresholds, the funding pathways. They didn't seize the state, they became indistinguishable from it. They created roles, majority leader, minority whip, etc., that were not grounded in the Constitution or any statute, but in procedural codes that serve primarily to concentrate power. They institutionalized incumbency. The fox didn't merely guard the henhouse, he was appointed poultry procurement officer by committee vote. As a result, the electorate is presented every election cycle with what the economists call a false choice, Coke or Pepsi, red or blue, each financed by the same capital pools, constrained by the same regulatory inertia, offering the same incrementalism in slightly different packaging. And this is called freedom of choice. But try to create a third party, a genuine alternative, and you'll find yourself in the grip of bureaucracy. 50 different petitions. Thousands of lawyers. Millions in funding. And you must seek permission from the very entities whose market share you're threatening. It is, in short, the political equivalent of regulatory capture. Consider the presidential debates. They are managed not by a neutral body, but by a non-profit jointly created and governed by the Democratic and Republican parties themselves. It is akin to General Motors and Ford writing the safety standards and claiming the process is fair while Toyota waits outside the testing center with no key. The media totally let us down. It should serve as a check on power. But it has been absorbed into the same duopoly. It no longer investigates, it markets. CNN serves one brand, Fox another. And independent voices are pushed to the margins, to podcasts, blogs, or oblivion. And through all of this, we cling to the Constitution as though it justifies this structure. But the Constitution does not mention political parties. Not once. The founders warned explicitly against them. Washington cautioned that factionalism would be the end of the Republic. Jefferson called parties the greatest political evil under our Constitution. Adams feared their descent into organized corruption. And yet we are locked into two rival firms that write the rules, fund each other's campaigns, and use public money to maintain market dominance. And the most striking aspect of all, they never needed a law to do it. That is the deeper danger, not tyranny, but normalization. Not the jackboot, but the handshake. Not the dictator, but the administrator. No constitutional amendment made these two parties sovereign. They simply filled the institutional void, built moats around themselves, and called it governance. And the public plays along, voting between options that have been pre-selected, sanitized, and packaged for mass consumption, believing they are exercising self-government when they are, in fact, choosing between two managers of the same managerial state. The result is a democracy that functions in form, but not in substance. And if history teaches us anything, it is this: republics do not collapse in a single day. They decay. Rome did not fall to a barbarian horde overnight. It fell, over centuries, through centralization of power, erosion of civic virtue, and the public's willingness to trade liberty for the illusion of order. What we are witnessing is not the death of democracy by force. It is its slow replacement by bureaucracy, by party machines, and by the quiet coercion of the status quo. And unless we recognize that reality, we will not reclaim self-government. We will merely continue to consume it like a brand until we cease to exist as a nation. Written by Rich Pezzullo, May 9, 2025. Presented by Len Marshall, First Amendment Free Press.org.